Broadcasting through the depths of outer space.
Hello, I'm alive. I don't know what's going on.
By your command.
Fascinating.
God damn you all to hell!
Nano.
It's the Sci-fi Podcast. This is episode 9 of the Solar One Sci-Fi Podcast. Michael Ball with Mr. Martin Fowler on another show. How are you doing, Martin?
I don't know. I think I'm doing very well, actually. I think we've had spectacular 2 episodes of science fiction this weekend.
Oh my God! Well, actually, I was just thinking over the last 6 weeks, because I saw Terminator: Dark Fate late. I only saw it the other week, but in that period, I've seen new Terminator, a new Star Wars film, a new Star Wars TV series, a new Star Trek series, and the return of Doctor Who.
Yes,
it's been pretty good bloody few weeks, mate. It's been pretty good. I'm very, very happy with just about all of it so far. A lot to talk about. Now, tonight's show is going to be focusing on Stargate SG-1, one of my favourites. I could talk about this forever, but we'll just talk about it for the length of the usual podcast. So I think we should just quickly go into the sci-fi news, talking about our reactions for the new shows, and then we'll go into our topic of the week. So here we go.
Working.
Solar Sci-Fi
News.
All right, so it's been a big week for, I should say, Star Trek and Doctor Who and everything else. All right, Star Trek. First of all, Star Trek Picard. I saw the episode last week, and I was pretty impressed with it, quite frankly. Tell me your reactions about it.
I watched it 3 times.
Yeah, I've watched it 3 times as well.
Yeah,
and
it was spectacular.
Yeah, now it's interesting because a lot of people, when it first came on, they loved it, but now you're starting to get a backlash from some of these negative, nerdrotic, doom cock. Well, he is a complete cock.
Yeah, I know you have watched it.
And but I think that, you see, it's strange because, we've talked about this before. You should not be swayed by people online about their opinions. I like websites where they're fair. For Doctor Who, I check out Dr. Freedom. For Star Trek, I check out Trek Yards. And there are some good people on YouTube who literally they don't just say they love it. If they've got an issue with it, they will acknowledge it. But then you get, like I said, the ones I've just referred to who are just negative, and completely too swayed the opposite direction. First impressions, obviously the opener with Data in 10 Forward wearing a Star Trek Nemesis uniform, which is called, of course, it was a dream, so it didn't quite make sense, which I loved. Picard, of course, is much older, looking a bit more frail, but he's still Captain Picard or Admiral Picard, retired. A lot of interesting things. I thought it was very, very good. I'm intrigued about all this. And of course, we've discovered that B4, which of course I assumed would be the person or the entity to carry on Data's consciousness, appears to have lost most of the memory transfer from Star Trek Nemesis, which I was quite surprised about. So it states now that bits of his memory now, because of Dr. Maddox, who wanted to make copies of Data back in season 2, there are parts of his memory out there. I was a bit confused about how anything can survive.
There is a solution to this. I'll tell you in a minute.
Tell me what you think. Go on.
There's somebody else you've forgotten.
Oh, not Law.
Yeah.
Oh, Law.
Yeah.
Oh.
I watched
Descent.
After when you mentioned Measure of a Man.
Yeah.
I went on Netflix and I watched the episode with Lal.
That's The Offspring.
Yes, The Offspring. And the several episodes with Data's brother. Now, the one in the Borg one.
Which is called Descent. It's the 2-part Descent.
Yeah,
season 6, season 7.
Watch that. He was only dismantled.
He was. And he says, I love you, brother. And you see him just switched off. Yeah. You're right. Oh, God, he's going to come back, isn't he? He's bound to.
It's got to be Law because he would have been put away in a classified thing because he's too dangerous.
Like a Section 31 thing or something.
Yeah,
like a file
or something like that.
Yeah.
And then suddenly Maddox created these synthetics, like almost sentient ones or whatever. But who's the leader?
And I bet you I know who made the synthetics go crazy or evil. It was Law, wasn't it?
Law.
Mate, you caught me out on that, of course.
I Law, because I thought I've not seen Descent in years.
Oh, I like that too.
And I watched it because I thought he got destroyed.
And that also features Hugh, which is coming back.
Yes.
Oh, mate.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Oh, shit. Yeah, okay. I think you might be right about that. But you're the first person who's given that theory. But there must be something about that.
Yeah, there's got to be. It's got to be Law.
Yeah. But I mean, at the moment, it's not focusing on Law. So on this episode, they said now that there are 2 synthetic versions which are classed as Data's daughter.
Yes.
Now, spoiler alert, one of them's already been killed in episode 1. And we've seen the sister, who's on a Borg cube of all things, with a group of Romulan survivors. I've got so many questions about this series. I love it. I'm completely thrown for a loop after watching the first episode. So, what do you think is going to happen next? So, of course, you're given the Law theory. What's going to happen next? What do you think will happen?
Well, again, it looks like we're going this way because it said Romulan reclamation site.
Yeah. So what does that involve?
It's the Borg cube hidden away. What
are they doing on the cube? What exactly? I mean, I've heard that
they seem to be stripping it, I think.
So are they just using it as like a ship, as to a living ship, or are they trying to get information about Borg drones or what?
She seemed to be a scientist, didn't she?
Yeah.
So the android woman, I think that, and he was a Romulans engineer, something like that. I think they're stripping it reclamation site. So there's something going on there. And the Romulan Empire as well. I mean, I've got so many questions about that now.
I know. Well, I mean, as far as I know, of course, Romulus was the main focus of the Empire. It's been destroyed. But surely they've got other sort of like planets, like in their own, not a federation, but they're an empire. So is Romulus, or the Romulan Empire, completely destroyed because of the destruction of Romulus? What about the Remans?
Well, there's Romulans living on Earth, apparently.
Well, there are 2, the servants of Picard, which I thought was quite odd. But interesting, I didn't mind it, but it was... And also I noticed with the... they've mixed some of the classic TOS Romulan look with some of the Next Generation. It's the 2 servants, the woman who's actually Irish. She was actually on the last episode of... she was in The Night of the Doctor. She's an Irish actress.
Oh, right.
And if you look, she actually has a slightly Irish accent, which is quite bizarre. So she's like an Irish Romulan. But the other guy, he had more of the slightly bumps on above his eyebrows, which looked more like Next Generation Romulan. So they're mixing it up a bit. But I don't know. I've got so many questions to ask. But so far, I'm completely strapped in for the ride, shall we say. It's like a theme park ride, and I love it. I can't wait to see episode 2, which is out Thursday or Friday, depending on which country you're in.
I want to know about that synthetic attack on Utopia Planitia. I'm really fascinated by that.
Well, I mean, we went to that, was it Okinawa, the development site where they had... And that was the base of where they're making the synthetics, but it didn't explain why they attacked. It just seemed to have happened. We need a lot more background as to what happened, and I think we'll be told that. But I'm very, very interested. It's really just what I want to see. Bring on episode 2.
When I saw Patrick Stewart appear, with the dream, in the dream scene. Yeah. I was watching it first day. It was like letting an old friend back into your house.
Oh God! Well, you see the Enterprise D. I was amazed. I saw the Enterprise D fly, and I thought, "Oh my God, it's so lovely." And then we went 10 affordable places, and then we saw Data, and of course Data. And I showed you. I sent you a picture yesterday of a picture of Data in full makeup before they de-aged him. He looked all right. I mean, obviously he was older in the full makeup, but they did a good job de-aging him for the scenes that we've seen him in already. I've heard that we're not going to see a lot of scenes with him in flashbacks and stuff, so I think they might have. The only bad thing is that they showed a lot of the clips of Data in the promos before it actually, and of course I'm sure there will be some surprises, But I'm hoping we'll see at least some more dream sequences, or just to see Data back in whatever we can. I think that'd be interesting.
Well, there's 7 of 9 to come, yeah.
I've heard she's not going to be around to episode 5. I don't think she's going to be there straight away. But like I said, you hear things I don't know. But suddenly she's going to... And I've heard that 7 and 9 and Picard have never met before, so that's going to be interesting.
I found the episode, how it moved. I mean, there was a lot of action in there.
Yeah.
But there was a lot of intense moments of conversations and digging into stuff and story.
Yeah,
and it was a fantastic balance.
I loved it. I mean, the best Star Trek is about the deep stories.
Yeah.
And humanity and looking at the universe and all the wonderful philosophies that Star Trek's entailed. This episode did have a lot of that, about this later getting to relearn or re-meet Picard, and of course, his whole life now in the vineyard and everything else. But it also has some action scenes. The last scene where he pulled back into the Borg cube was awesome.
Oh, what on?
Oh, mate.
Wow.
I loved it. I was like, oh my God. So, So, now, one of 2 shows this week have made my jaws drop. That was the one. Moving swiftly to the other one is Doctor Who. Oh my God. Oh dear. Well,
you read the stuff on the internet.
Chris Chibnall has really come back. I'll give him his due. I mean, season 11 was pretty weak, but this so far, the majority of the episodes have been bloody good. Again, jaw-dropping. Captain Jack Harkness. They kept secrets, and that was one thing that Stephen Moffat didn't do. When the Master came back, everybody knew about it, completely ruined it. Captain Jack Harkness suddenly on my screen, and I was like, oh my God. He's not been in since the end of season 4, the Christmas special, the last David Tennant episode. That was the last time we saw him.
Apparently, God, is it Chibnall he put on about Dr. Ruth and...
Dr. Ruth.
Dr. Ruth and Captain Jack's not going to be in this series after that, that's it.
Oh. Well,
that's what sad. I don't know if that was on the internet.
I think they'll be back before that. I mean, all right, so look, okay, so there's now, and I'm a bit dubious about this, there's another Doctor, which we've never met. Now, they've already done this with the War Doctor. They also did it with there's a Christmas special which featured another Doctor who wasn't another Doctor, with Neil Morrissey from The Walking Dead was in it. Was it what's that called? The Next Doctor. There we are. Do you remember that episode?
Yes.
So they fooled us on this one, but I've heard that Chibnall's saying that this Doctor Who is officially another Doctor. Now, I've got some major issues about that. If she is another Doctor, then first of all, that will mess up all the regeneration cycle limits, because it would have run out at the end of the 10th Doctors rather than the 11th Doctor. So,
well, it would have done. Yeah.
I don't know about this. I mean, it's sci-fi; they can explain anything away. But I don't know. I thought it was really intense. I thought it was a great scene. I thought Jodie Whittaker was great. And there's a great scene at the end when she's walking back after this Doctor drops her off, and she just looks so broken with what's going on. And I love the scene where she says that time's converging, and now there's this theory about this lone Cyberman which is coming up. Jack Harkness is coming. She said that Jack Harkness is coming back. He'll be back before the end of the season,
I think so.
I don't know. I'm actually totally blown away. I'm really excited about Doctor Who. I'm really excited about Star Trek. So I'm a very happy chappy. Let's just put it that way.
What do you think? I thought the actress that played Doctor Who, I thought she was fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, it's the first black actress to play the Doctor.
But she nailed it.
I haven't got used to it yet. I was kind of a bit dubious whether it's true or not, but yeah, she's fine.
I don't know. Don't you remember the episode with Clara and the Great Intelligence when she went through his whole...
his time stream. His time stream.
And it showed you the scene where they CGI'd the first Doctor getting into his TARDIS.
That's right, with Clara saying, don't take this TARDIS, take that one.
So, I mean, there's been a lot of outrage about this. A lot of people are not happy. I think... I like Doctor Who.
Why are people so difficult? I mean, you've got to throw things into the mix to make it interesting. I mean, last season...
They've definitely done that.
I mean, he played it too safe last season, and this season he's got brought back the Master. The only thing is, I think this is not that it's a problem, but I think the BBC are throwing ethnic minorities into every kind of Time Lord now. We've got an Indian master, we've got a black doctor. That's fine if it's for the story, but not just to be too PT. That's the only thing I've got a slight reservation about.
Yeah, but I mean, so then there was more doctors before Hartnell then?
Well, I mean, what it's suggesting is perhaps, when William Hartnell, we thought he was the first Doctor. What if he was the first Doctor of a new regeneration cycle? If he was that, then there could be a previous 12 Doctors. Now, I seem to remember an episode of John Pertwee. There was an episode where there was a scene where I think it was Time Lords or somebody was saying that you had many faces before or something. There was something.
Yeah, a few have said that.
There was something where it was intimated that there was plenty of other Doctors we weren't even aware of. But I can't remember what episode. But do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Something in the past. There was something which referred to something more behind the Doctor that we've seen, even though William Hartnell was the first. So I don't know about that.
I watched Battlefield with Sylvester McCoy.
Oh, that's right. The other end of the classic season series.
Yeah. And it's a great episode, but Morgaine, the villain, she said the man with the person with many faces.
Yeah, but then could they have been referring to, by that point he'd already had 6 faces?
Yeah, but the person that buried Arthur was another Doctor. It wasn't him. It was a Doctor in the future. He was. Yeah, because when he turned up and got involved in all this, it's like his future self left him a letter. Yeah. And he said, I haven't done this yet. I mean, you've got, I don't know. I mean, maybe there was another 12. I mean, they can do it. I mean, I know the purists are freaking out about it, but
I don't mind. I don't mind. No, I mean, good luck to it. I mean, it's interesting. It depends on how it's written. If it's written well, I say bring it on. The Master's already saying about there's lots of things that you don't know, and this is why I destroyed Gallifrey. I mean, it's only another 5 episodes to go, and I hope that a lot of these story arcs will be resolved this season rather than carried on. I've got the feeling they will, but I don't know.
Do you remember the movie with Paul McGann?
Yeah, I love the Paul McGann movie.
Do you remember the scene with the Master when they're battling in the TARDIS?
Yeah.
And he looks into the eye of harmony in the TARDIS, and he says,
"You're half human."
He says the Doctor's half human.
That's right.
And that's been forgotten about.
Yeah, but a lot of people have got issues with the TV movie because it was a Universal production. They gained the rights to use Doctor Who. They brought back Sylvester McCoy, which I thought was great because I thought his death scene was really. Because Sylvester McCoy's era to me was, I don't know, he was one of my lesser favourite Doctors. I was a big fan of Colin Baker, who a lot of people couldn't stand, but I thought he was good. And some of the episodes in that regeneration were, I thought, a bit weak. The last season that you got had some good episodes, like you said, Battlefield, Curse of Fenric. But I just thought that I think the first episode, is it Time in the Rani, when he first regenerated? And then you had Bonnie Langford screaming in that ball bomb, and then you had and I think that's a problem. It kind of, his first season was so weak that I don't think the series quite recovered after that. Even though, as you say, it strengthened at the end.
But
go on.
But this like I was reading. I mean, look. The thing is, when you bring stuff back from like 2 decades ago or a decade ago, you can't do the same thing. And like with some of the Doctor Who fan base, you've got the purists that worship the Baker years and the Pertwee, the Peter Davison, and I'm not knocking them.
No, me neither.
But when they brought it back in
2005,
2005, Christopher Eccleston, and this. Things have changed and moved on. Society's moved on, and yeah, even with Picard, you can't go back to what they were doing 2 decades ago. You've got to change because these kind of moved on.
Somebody was saying they didn't like the scene with the daughter and her boyfriend in the first scene when they're in their apartment together. before the Romulans come in, and they were saying that they were speaking very 2020 slang, like I don't know, sort of like talking as if it was like 2020 rather than the 24th century. And somebody said that they never really talked like that before, maybe apart from Tom Paris and Voyager, because he was a big enthusiast of 20th century. I could see that.
Yeah, definitely. But the whole thing with the Doctor Who thing, I mean, they have pulled a couple of stunts over the last couple of years, but you know, they're experimenting. Eventually,
bring it on.
They're going to get it right.
And also, it's not, nothing's going to last forever. I think, to be honest with you, I'm enjoying it for as long as it lasts. As far as I'm concerned, Chris Chibnall has brought the series right back up now in this season already. Obviously, the second half will make a proper analysis. We might even do a podcast about it when it finishes, if you fancy.
Definitely.
Until then, I'm happy.
Response.
Yeah, until then, I'm pretty happy with what I've seen. Bring it on. As far as I'm concerned, go for it.
Yeah,
really pleased with it.
Very happy. I thought this episode, it was. I mean, there were a couple of weird bits in it. I mean, I never got round Amy Caffey Bard, who had a dossier on her boyfriend.
Which bit?
Do you remember when Dr. Who, she worked as a tour guide?
Oh, yeah.
Gloucester. Well, she went in and got a coffee to that guy behind the counter who kept saying that the man she was with, he wasn't who he was, and he had a big dossier on him.
Well, I mean, as what I gather was that he was like the companion, although it was more than a companion because they were actually having a relationship.
Yeah, but the guy in the cafe bar was a stalker. Yeah, and he brought a dossier. Now, if you went in a cafe bar and somebody did that, gave you a dossier, would you not think this is all a bit odd?
Yeah, and how come she wasn't upset about? And how come the boyfriend wasn't coming around and saying, "Look, what are you doing to my girlfriend? Who, f off, bugger off." Yeah, that was a bit strange. That was a bit odd.
And what about when they kept saying to him, "What's in the box?" and he said that he wouldn't tell him, but he went and sacrificed himself, and he was forgotten about. He was
killed off.
Forgotten about,
yeah, that was a weak thing. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's possible they could explain it, but that was a bit of a sort of dead end for that character because in the end. Yeah. But I think the whole point of him was to throw you off. You were supposed to think that...
and they did it wonderfully.
But they didn't give him a resolution. If they'd have given him more of an explanation of what he was, even if it wasn't so big, but they didn't. They just killed him off, so the answers with him weren't given.
But the thing is now, what worries me now is that they've set a bar. I mean, the episode was a masterpiece. It was. Yeah. It really was. But the problem is now they've set such a bar now. How are they going to keep... They've got to, this week, they've got to go above that now.
Well, I doubt they will. I think that it's one of those series where you have peaks and troughs. I mean, last week was a big peak. I would have thought it'd be more like normality, but I don't know. You can't tell. I'm really uncertain now. Last season it was kind of like every episode is like, okay, whatever. This season I'm starting to think, well, what can they do next? Which is great. Which is good. This is what it should be. So, like I said, we'll have to see how that goes. But let's talk about it next week after we've seen more Picard, more Doctor Who. I'm afraid, people, that will be on the news a bit for the next few weeks because this is big stuff and we want to talk about news, i.e. the news of these factors coming out and people's reactions and stuff. And I think that as a podcast which is up to date, although we focus on a topic of the week, we'd like to talk about our latest experiences. I'll quickly say I saw Avenue 5 and I've seen the first 2 episodes.
Excellent. I'll watch that tonight.
It's all right. It's not really jumped out of me yet. It's got some actors from The Office, the American version, which is fine. Hugh Grant's okay because you think he's American, but he's English, and then he's swapping his accent. But it's not. I mean, it's not really sort of. I haven't got like the Red Dwarf first episode's feeling.
No.
It does have comedy. Unfortunately, the copies I'm watching, for some reason, the lip syncing is slightly out, so that's slightly distracting me when I'm watching it. But so far, it's okay. I've not been blown away with it, but I can't remember exactly when I got blown away by the Orville. I think it was quite soon on, but the Orville is far superior to Avenue 5 so far, from what I've seen.
Oh, definitely.
But I mean, if you get a chance, see, and maybe you can give your opinion next week when we do episode 10.
I thought it was all right. I mean, the thing is, I've got a feeling that somewhere they could lose the comedy could become quite stale.
Yeah.
It'd be like a repeat every episode. I thought the opening, it was okay. I mean, it wasn't bad.
Oh, so you have seen episode 1, have you?
I've seen it.
Oh, sorry, I thought you hadn't seen it.
It's on Sky now where it started.
All right, so watch episode 2 and see what you think. Like I said, it's all right. It's not blown me away or anything like the Orville did. So there we go. Is there anything else we're going to our topic of the week?
There's a new another superhero movie out next week.
Oh, okay. This is your side of things. Go on.
Well, I don't know. I'm getting a bit all superheroed out a bit now.
I'm not a huge fan of the superheroes.
Well, I like it. There's just what is it? Harley Quinn and is it Batwoman and?
Oh, is it one of those sort of crossover sort of things?
Well, no, it's a big movie next week. It's The Birds of Prey. That's it.
Okay.
Black Canary, Batwoman, Oracle, and Harley Quinn, the Joker's girlfriend. It's the one from Suicide Squad. It's about her, and she teams up with some female superheroes.
So, are you going to go and see it, or are you going to?
No.
You're not going to see it, no.
I'm all superhero
now. Yeah, well, no, but if you do see it and you want to discuss it, then please do, because, like I said, it's supposed to cover anything in sci-fi, whether it's superheroes, whatever. Yeah, they're starting filming. I can't wait. I'm amazed they're doing it, but if it's a good story, we've got a lot of things. I mean, we've got new Ghostbusters this year, new Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. It's really good with the sci-fi. New Mandalorian. Oh, I heard that apparently Obi-Wan the Kenobi Star Wars series apparently has been delayed.
Oh.
Apparently, they're rewriting it, and the woman that the producer of Star Wars, can't remember her name. She's getting involved.
Kathleen
Kennedy, yeah. Apparently, I've heard that there's going to be a delay, although it's not been confirmed. So
she's like the arch enemy of all the Star Wars fans, here, isn't she? They blame her for ruination.
Yeah, but I don't know if that's true, because in the end, under her expertise or vision or whatever, we've got the Mandalorian.
Precisely, that's.
And we've got the rise.
And we've got
the Rise of Skywalker, which I'm quite happy with. I know a lot of Star Wars fans aren't happy with it, but personally, I loved it. I'm happy. I can't wait to get it, and it's sorted. So, if she can do anything half as good with Obi-Wan Kenobi as she's done with the Mandalorian, then I'll be a very happy chappy. Right, let's go into the topic of Focus of the Week, and let's hit that jingle.
It's the Solar Sci-Fi Focus of the Week.
All right, so this is a big one. This is one I've tried to save as long as possible because it's one of my all-time favourite series. It's in the top 3 favourite series franchise for me with Doctor Who and Star Trek. It's that big, and of course it's the first of the 3 representations of this franchise. It is, of course, Stargate SG-1. I'm a huge fan. I've seen the episodes multiple times. It started in 1997. I liked the original movie. I wasn't blown away by the original movie. It was okay. But, of course, when I started getting to SG-1, it was on, for some reason, at one point, I had Sky on terrestrial channel for some reason. It was some weird thing. So, and they were showing this SG-1, and I think I was watching some episodes of season 3, and then I think I first saw the the 2-part Nemesis episodes at the end of season 3, which introduced the replicators, and that was the point where I thought, okay, this series is something really special. So I went back, watched season 1, season 2, and then of course I continued it went until it finished. And I absolutely loved it. I thought it was excellent. Tell me what your experience about this series.
I think Stargate's one of the best sci-fi franchise ever made.
I did.
I was hooked on SG-1.
Yeah, absolutely. It was clever because it had quite a good comedy factor. Not the level of comedy, say, in the Orville, but it did have a good humour. It had a very easygoing character of Jack O'Neill, who, though he can always have his serious moments as well. It was just a great dynamic. It's just everything about it. It was just the design of it. It was the stories. It was the time it was made. And I loved it, and it was so good. It ran for 10 seasons, which is phenomenal. It went past 200 episodes, and then it had 2 spin-off series as well. Atlantis I liked as well, and at one point during SG1's, say, 8th or 9th seasons, there were so many crossovers. You were literally, and I was watching them together. I would sometimes have to think, which series am I watching? But going back to SG1, I just thought the dynamic with all the actors involved was brilliant. I mean, what sort of period in the series did you like the best? Did you just like it the whole thing through?
It grew.
It grew.
Did SG1. It wasn't like every series was similar. They all grew. They got into relationships outside the job. How they could the politics. I loved the political episodes. With that dodgy vice president trying to shut it down, Kinsey.
Kinsey, yeah.
At the end of the first season, when there's that free part of the serpent's lair.
Yeah.
Well, he turns up and he says, "I'm going to shut it down." And there's this great scene where he says, "Well, if they come here, we're one nation under God." And O'Neill just sits there and goes, "Are you are you fucking kidding me?" Basically, that's up your ass. They'll annihilate us in a minute. Yeah. And this is it's the scope of it. This secret and I love the NID. I loved it when William Devane played President Hayes. When that general walked in and said, "You're going to have to forget about Togo. This is more important." You give him a file. He said, "Are you kidding me? You're sending people to other planets."
Yeah.
I loved all that.
Yeah, I mean, there was so much about it, and also the Russians trying to get their own Stargate, and then of course, there was 2 Stargates, and one gets ends up in the ocean, and then the Russians get it, and then there's an episode where Marina Sirtis from Star Trek plays a Russian, and then they find out that the other gate is open because you can't have 2 gates open at the same time, and then it was just so. And then what was the character who was? Not Kinsey. There was a character. Mayborn. Mayborn was really funny. Recurring character.
I liked
Mayborn was really funny.
When he was king on that planet.
Oh yeah. That was one of the last times we saw him. That was about season 8 or 9. That was.
Yeah, I loved Mayborn.
It was, and the Goa'uld was so interesting a race, who over the period of 8 years slowly get defeated. And then we had the Ori, which I thought were great as well. I like the Ori as well.
Who was your favourite Goa'uld baddie?
I think it had to be Apophis, I'm afraid.
Really? Mine were Baal. I like Baal, mate.
Baal was okay, but Apophis was such a main baddie for the first 5 years. He finally got killed off. And then, of course, you had Anubis, who was interesting because he was half ascended. And of course, then you had the ascended beings, what are they called? What are the ones? Who are the ascended beings? I've gone blank.
The ancients.
The ancients. That's it. The ancients. That's it.
Well, yeah, the ancients.
And of course, you had Omar Desala, who came back, and then Daniel died. And of course, it was so clever because he had radiation poisoning because the actor wanted to leave the series. He wanted to move on, and he came back. He actually came. Michael Shack's changed his mind after a season.
Well, I don't think his career took off outside like he expected, did it really?
No, but I'm surprised. But and then he got killed off again. Then he came back again, and it was like all sorts of things happened with him.
Do you remember that scene that I thought in season 8 when they sort of wrapped up a lot of the Goa'uld and the replicator thing?
Yeah.
That planet, is it Takara?
Yeah.
And when it went, well, the episode after, was it Fred's? Where Daniel Jackson's in between life and death.
He's in the sort of like cafeteria, wasn't he? Or something like a.
And that fella coming in with newspapers and all that. That to me was a masterpiece of an episode when he revealed he was Anubis.
I know, it's an extended episode as well. I love the idea of ascension and stuff, and I thought that was a very, very interesting thing. And there was just so many different elements that made the series work so well. It's, of course, it also had 2 subsequent TV movies, which I did. I liked both of them as well. It could have just sort of carried on. It almost did make a season 11. Some other maker did offer to. I think it was. I can't remember who it was now. I think it was something to Apple or something. I don't know. Some company, but then there was some weird properties rights where they couldn't actually purchase the rights to.
Well, when MGM went.
MGM, that's it. MGM, that's it. Yeah.
Was it 2000? When did they have Crash? It was
2008, 9, yeah, something like that. Yeah, something like that.
Well, Joe Flanagan, who played Shepard, he got a consortium together to buy the franchise, or rent it to keep it going, because it was a big hit. I mean, you could have got another. I reckon you could have got another 5-6 years out of it, and you could have changed the cast as well.
Yeah, I mean that's a great thing. You can just going. Evolve, and then you can have like a bit like the episode of Captain Jack on Doctor Who this week. You can have a character from and he hasn't been on for 10 years, coming back in a special episode or something. Well, they could have carried it on.
Well, he all fell through the deal because there was obviously the planned Stargate Atlantis movie, but there was some big mess up with copyright and it all fell through. But he nearly tried to save it. The footage is on YouTube. He's talking about it,
and obviously
Joe raised a lot of money.
And Joe Flanagan, of course, was Shepard on Atlantis. He did one of the actors as well.
Favourite character in I thought I loved that.
Roddy McKay. I mean, we'll do a separate episode on Atlantis, but I think Roddy McKay is my favourite character on that whole series. But
O'Neill, his relationship with Amanda Tapping, it was quite interesting because you got the moments where there was that connection between them both. It was only brief, but when situations got bad, there was that.
Well, they had romantic feelings for each other. It was acknowledged in an episode in season 4 where they had to use the device which checks if you are there's something where you can actually have a hidden kind of implant into your brain and actually make you want to kill things. Zerti or something. I can't even think of the term. And they had to acknowledge that they did have feelings for each other, but they couldn't go anywhere with it because they were working in the military, so for the Air Force. So they had to keep it on a professional basis. But it was really well done, and the chemistry between the two actors was really spot on. They really did bounce off each other very well. How did you find it when obviously Richard Dean Anderson sort of left at the end of season 8, and we had the next guy who took over,
Ben Browder.
Ben Browder, yeah. What did you think about that?
Well, I was getting a bit worried. I did like season 8 and 9, but I didn't think they were as good as up until season 8.
Okay, so
for me, it was good. It took me a couple of episodes. I liked how they brought Ben Browder's Cameron Mitchell in.
Yeah, Cameron Mitchell.
They really touched on the Battle of Antarctica. He was in the
yes, he was on the F302 or whatever, and he crashed and stuff, but he survived. And of course, they recapped the scenes from the previous season.
Yeah, and it works beautifully. Well, he was already part of it all. And it took me 3 or 4. I was getting a bit worried because half the cast of Farscape were coming into it.
I never saw Farscape. I saw the puppets in it. It just put something about it put me off. I don't know what it was.
I will give it a go. It's different. It's quite serious, and that's all I'll say on it. Farscape stands on its own, and it does finish. But I'll let you watch it first.
Okay.
Give it a go.
I've got so many series I want to see, but it's just never getting the chance to see everything.
I went through a list. I'm so behind on. I ain't got the time to watch.
No, I haven't got the time either. With work and family and everything else.
Yeah.
I'm doing YouTube and all sorts of things I do. I don't really have much of a time to sit down. I want to see season 2 of The Expanse. I will, and we'll talk about that in the future, but it's just getting around. There's no rush, though, because I've got lots of series I've already seen. So it doesn't mean that, we're going to sort of completely run out of things to talk about. But it's just, like I said, we'll do in the future, definitely. So it obviously finished after the 2 TV movies. The second one was Stargate Conundrum, I think it was. No, Continuum, which I thought was a great ending because it went back to the Second World War, where the Stargate's been transported from Egypt to America. And then, of course, we had Baal coming back it was good, like a time travel story. They did some great alternative timelines and parallel universe episodes, which I liked as well. And like I said before, plenty of crossovers. So yeah, it's a very
script. When MGM went under, there was a plan for a third movie.
Yeah, I heard about that. Apparently, it was going to be a sort of a crossover movie between Atlantis.
Well, it was Stargate Disclosure or something. It was more political. It gets out. The world finds out about
which,
it.
of course, every Stargate fan was really waiting for. And
that would have been amazing.
And I think we were all thinking it would eventually happen. And as you say, it would have happened, but MGM fell through, and we lost out on such a good thing. Now, of course, we've talked about the 2 spin-offs. It did recently come back with another Stargate TV movie, which not Infinity. What was it called? That new one?
You mean about Catherine?
Yeah.
Oh, where it's set in it's set in Egypt.
I can't remember what it's called.
I've seen it. It was a very cheap. I mean, it was okay, but it was very cheap.
So that I was surprised they even made that, but it did feel a bit inferior. The Tool Gold and the women didn't feel quite right. Connor Trinity was in it as Catherine's father, which was good to see him as the actor from Star Trek and Stargate Atlantis. But it was okay. I didn't loathe it, but I didn't love it either. It was just, it felt a bit like this Avenue 5. It was sort of, it's okay. Yeah, I mean, it was pleasant enough, but I
wouldn't have paid for it.
No, I mean, it was online, but I mean, did you have to pay for it? I don't know how you got hold of it.
I just watched it.
Well, yeah, I just watched it too, but I'm wondering what you're supposed to do with it.
It just appeared on my screen one day.
That's it. It just beamed on my screen like a transporter. Like, it's come on my screen. I just had to press play and watch it. And originally it was in like about 10-minute parts or something, which is ridiculous.
I think it was. Yeah.
And then eventually it was...
they set up, I think they went into streaming, and there was a channel on YouTube, the Stargate channel. They put lots of clips up. And
there you go.
What happened was, they set up this website, and then they wanted to pay to watch all the episodes.
Do you want to answer your phone?
I'll phone them.
Blooper. Go on, carry on what you're saying.
But it's at the end. They tried to get I think you had to pay like £5 a month or something, and you got loads of Stargate little bits and little things and watch it, like extras. But just make a new series. You're gonna make money out of it.
I'm surprised now because every other major franchise, they're talking about a new Aliens TV series now.
Oh, I saw that.
Oh my god. Oh well, I mean, we'll talk about that in the news next week. But I think that's. I want to talk about that.
That will just appear on the screen.
Yeah, I know. Well, we'll talk about that. Yeah, exactly. We probably will. But go back to Stargate. It's such a shame that it's. I mean, we will do episodes focusing on the 2 spin-offs, but I don't know whether Stargate Universe really was a catalyst for it ending because it had a different feeling to it. It lost the comedy. I like Universe. I don't have a problem with it. I think...
went in and out with it. I found it. I thought the pilot episode was fantastic, but I think it was it 3 seasons? Or...
Yeah, it only lasted 2.
It was the second season it really picked up for me when they found that that city was built by their descendant. It was all a big time loop thing, and it had potential, but it was. They tried turning it into BSG,
which of course was a completely different
drama.
And and people were too used to the. Yeah, they shouldn't have changed the dynamic of Stargate SG1 into something else. And I think you're right. Luckily, I liked BSG, but in the same regard, I didn't want to see Stargate BSG. I didn't want to see Stargate Galaxka. I wanted to say Stargate and they could have done it with characters where. Nicholas Rush was so bloody miserable. And Robert Carlyle was a good actor. I'm not going to go at him, but it made his character not very likable, and he just lost the humour, and he just lost the, there's so many great moments in Stargate with a tilt raising his eyebrow, and it's I don't know, it was just a great series.
It's just so different, isn't it?
But as you say, they could always just come back. All they're going to do is rebuild it might be an expensive set, but build the new Stargate. It could be in a different location if they don't want to do the Stargate Command. And 10 years later, this is what's going on, the thing is,
the Earth becomes a very interesting place because I think they ended up building 9 ships with the Chinese built a ship. I saw a YouTube video, Space Dock.
They had the Odyssey, the
Hammonds,
which appeared in Discovery. They had a Russian one, which I can't remember the name.
That got destroyed.
They had another one. They had another one. The Black Captain. I can't remember his name. He appeared.
The Apollo.
Apollo. That's it. 5. Yeah, 5.
And the Odyssey.
I've already counted that one.
All right. So I think there were 9 altogether.
Yeah.
It's what he said on Space that they were building, but other countries, because they had to share the technology, other countries were building them.
And of course, there was the episode Disclosure where Britain, Germany, China, Russia was already where they get told about the Stargate program.
To bring that back now, that they're building into, because some other Carter said they were building a moon base as well.
That's it. It was in the I think it was in the last. I think it was in Conundrum, the very last episode they made.
Yeah, and
she mentions that. Yeah.
And they had several off-world sites, Beta site and Alpha site, and we were expanding out there. We were moving out, and we took out the main baddies.
But one thing I love about this series, because it had enough time to do it, was the whole timeline is about 10 years, maybe 11 with the TV movies, right? And from that point, from SG-1 in Season 1 to Season 10, they had their own interstellar ships, they had their own fighters, they had their own bases. And the whole point of the Stargate program was to learn technology, partly to defeat the goal as well, but also for their own Earth interests. And they did it.
Yeah,
they did that slowly, and it was so well done, so gradual, that the technology was slowly being built into the United States Air Force, and it became a special interstellar power, even though everyone on Earth didn't know about it, apart from the special...
The technology was for people on Earth.
Yeah, exactly.
They set up a corporation to release the advances.
And medicines and stuff were slowly being integrated into society. Even though, they had that episode with that multimillionaire who made that clone of a Asgard. And then, of course, he eventually says, look, and he finds out about it, and he sort of talks about what they're going to do in the future, that they've got to keep it quiet and stuff. And, of course... Even like Earth-based vessels, like planes and stuff, United States planes were slowly integrating more and more of this alien technology because it was all happening. It's just that we didn't know about it. I loved it. I just thought it was so good.
Well, I mean, the thing is, where this could have gone, they changed their home, they turned it into Homeworld Command as well.
Yeah,
the whole Earth, all the nations. So really, the Stargate thing would have probably gone under UN at some point.
Yes,
and been shared globally, and the technology's coming. That Earth would have become an intergalactic power within a century.
Yeah, exactly.
It was on that way because the Asgard left us all their technology.
They gave us everything. We became the 5th race.
Yeah. I mean, just think where you could have gone with this.
But they could do it. They could bring it back.
Yeah.
And they could show us. It's like I said, it finished in... Where did it finish? Where did Discovery finish? 2011?
I think so, yeah.
So almost 10 years. 10 years on. It'd be so interesting.
But people would watch it. I would...
I think it'll come back. It will come back at some point. It has to. It's too big a thing. It's got a huge following. Not as big as Star Trek, fair enough, but it has got a big... And I consider it one of the best series ever. I love it. And I'm actually going to watch the episode tonight now because I've talked about it so much. I think I might watch Window of Opportunity, the Groundhog Day looping one.
Do you know the episodes I liked?
Which ones?
I like the ones where they went to a pre-war world. You know, like it were like our type of world.
Oh, do you remember the one where they went to the episode? It was like a medieval one, and they had an Unas. And there's this guy who's going to do a Tapanning ritual on his daughter to get rid of the bad spirits from her forehead. And of course, man! And then you had the leader who's taken over by the Goa'uld at the end, and his eyes flash. I loved it. Oh my god, it's such a good series.
Well, I like the ones where they went to like the Rand Protectorate and the Caledonians, and the one where when Daniel Jackson left and he came in, the other archaeologist.
Jonas Quinn.
Jonas Quinn. I like Jonas Quinn, but they went to his world and they were like 40 years behind
Yes,
them.
and that's right. Yes.
But I love when they went to... I mean, there was a great one, I watched it over at weekend, where in season 10, where they end up... They think they're in a pyramid, they're in a museum.
That's it.
And there's a party, and they have to pretend to be...
And there's like a security guard. There's a security guard who's trying to go around. Yeah, it's really funny. And of course they...
Because their society, I like to see how their society reacts to people from another planet.
And as you say, we saw often sort of races in about the 20th century equivalent, and they did have a Stargate, but they hadn't made contact with other worlds. And of course, we come in and say, look, this is a big thing. We want to be a bit cautious, but we could offer you chances of learning. It was great, and of course, it didn't have the prime directive limitation from Star Trek, which was also interesting. Although I would have thought they would have implemented that myself, but I don't know. The actual contamination of other societies. I don't know. I mean, do you think they should have had a prime directive in Stargate?
No, because we're a young race and no. I get it in Star Trek. I watched Next Generation First Contact over the weekend.
I watched Nemesis over the weekend.
No, First Contact.
Episode. Go on.
Yeah, where Riker gets caught on a planet.
Sorry.
Observation stage.
Yeah, you mean the episode First Contact. Yeah, I thought you meant the film.
Sorry.
Sorry, that's going.
No, I think for Star Trek it works. Maybe like 100 years in the future of Stargate, you sort of get into that stuff. Yeah. But no, I don't think they should get involved. But, when they step through that gate, your world's changed. There's an impact. I mean, O'Neill said, he said, I respect its power, and it's got to be respected for what that device is.
Yeah,
it's incredible.
It was
great series.
Well, I think that's pretty much all I could say about it. But it was an excellent series. I thoroughly enjoyed it, and it's. I'd love it if they could actually release it all in high def though and stuff like that, because I'm a bit of a picture freak when it comes to watching stuff. I like the best possible quality.
I'd like to see that in
same as I want to see DS9 and Voyager in high def. I mean, it's you need to have that in high def. We really need that. Yeah. Anyway, that was a good series, and thank you for sharing your opinions on a great classic sci-fi series.
Yes.
Is it now time for the latest Predator versus who?
Predator versus
Oh, well, I asked a friend actually over the weekend when I was out. I said, would you like to see Predator fight? I said, don't go to... I said to who would you like? And he just came out with it. He said, the Fall Guy. I said, what? Colt Savers?
Right, you need to tell me about this series, because I've not seen it.
Right. Colt Savers is your standard Lee Majors in his mid-40s. He's a Hollywood stuntman.
Okay.
But to maintain his living, he don't get a lot. He gets stunt work, but he's a bounty hunter, and he's got this daft assistant, and obviously the bikini-clad secretary as well.
Oh, cool.
And,
as you do.
Every episode, they've got this woman that comes and she says, "Can you go collect this bounty on this guy?" People that skip bail, and then he gets involved in the situation and stops stuff. But then he always pulls the stunt off.
Okay.
To foil the baddies. He always does a stunt, when they're in a situation, because he's the Fall Guy.
I never saw this one. So he's met the Predator. You need to tell me what he can do to beat the Predator.
Well, he's they're driving through that desert in America. You know where the film alt scenes of like Captain Kirk fighting the gun. You know that valley.
Yeah. California.
Well, they're driving through desert and they're after this Bales guy, and he's running. He's skipped bail, but he's got some alien tech with him, which is like he's somehow he got hold of it and he's on the run and everybody's after him. But there's a bailout on him.
Right.
A bomb. and Colt's after him anyway. They end up in desert and a predator lands because this thing's let a signal off. Slaughters a load of FBI agents and other bounty hunters. And he's hunting this guy for this predator device. Well, anyway, Colt Savers, he had a pickup truck. He's in the desert. And he runs into the predator and sort of knocks it over. Anyway, he kills his assistant, the daft one that wouldn't say he's ever. She runs off in a bikini. She just runs off screaming because that's what they used to do back then.
Okay.
Right. And it's him and Colt Savers. Well, there's a big fight, and Colt got thrown. Really, a name like Colt Savers. He gets thrown around a lot, and it keeps carrying on. Does he do like
the William Shatner shoulder rolls when he sort of hits the ground?
Sort of, yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Because he's a stuntman. And his leg's nearly broken. He's struggling. He can't believe this thing. It's letting off laser blasts everywhere. But he's got a stick of dynamite. He's just from one of his stunts charges. And he sees some rocks and he works it out. He sticks this like explosive under these rocks. And Predator's like coming towards him up the hill. And he just lets it go and it gets squashed by an avalanche. And Colt Savers defeats the Predator.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's just like that.
It's the stunt he uses movie special effects to do it.
Right.
But he's a stuntman.
Yeah, I mean, like I said...
He don't use the gun either. He don't carry a gun.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because you always think about if you haven't got the weapons or you haven't got the ways to defend yourself, how would you survive the Predator? But yeah, I'm going to have to just agree with you with this one because I've not seen the series. So if you think that he would win, I mean, so far, most of the adversaries for the Predator recently have won.
Well, they didn't win last week. You killed them all off.
Oh, that's right. No, that's right, with the whiskey and the Doc Cotton. Yeah, that's true. Okay. All right, I've got a synopsis for you to do next week then. Predator versus the 70s Incredible Hulk.
Oh, come on.
Really? No, you've got to come up with a synopsis. That's your task for next week.
Oh, God. Yeah, really?
And of course, because you've got to have David Banner.
13 trousers and don't make me angry.
Yeah, absolutely. David Banner's got to be triggered by the Predator to change into Hulk.
You've messed my weekend up with that. I mean,
that's your podcast homework for the next week.
He just goes, arr.
Yeah, but he might throw a big rock at him or something. It's important.
Right, okay, right.
Or he might bend some steel bar. He might bend a steel bar and wrap it around his throat or something.
Right, it's 1970s Incredible Hulk with ripped trousers versus Predator.
I love that bloody series. I love that. You've got to give me that's your homework for the week, mate.
Right. Fair enough. I will do it.
That'll be interesting. I will look forward to bouncing that off each other next week. Excellent. All right. Anything else you want to talk about before we wrap up the show?
No, I think that's it. That's it from me.
That's brilliant. Okay. Well,
bamboozled me with that.
Oh well, I try my best. Like I said, last week it was Doc Cotton when it comes to Predator. This week it's Incredible Hulk. So you're the one. You're the one that created this topic. This regular slots.
Yeah, I just didn't think you'd bring him into it.
Well, we brought in Doc Cotton, so I mean, we're bringing anybody.
Right. No, but it's an open universe.
And you're bringing in a middle-aged stuntman from the 70s and doing shoulder rolls.
But my friend asked me to do it on that. I was a bit. I thought I was expecting him to choose like Van Damme or somebody, but no.
Well, I'll have to check out some stuff on YouTube about this character because I've not seen him, so we'll do that.
I'll send you after the show. I'll send you his intro.
All right, that'd be interesting.
He had the song actually. He sings the theme tune.
Does he?
Yeah.
Is it cheesy? Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, maybe next week we'll feature maybe the song at the end of the show. If you remind me, I don't know, we'll do that. But this week though, I have got a song. Okay. I've been doing sound mixing for about 20 years, and one of my very, very first mixes, and the sound levels aren't fantastic, but it's listenable, and I want to share it. Have you ever heard of? You must have heard of this. The Prodigy singing Firestarter.
Yeah, I've not heard
it's a well-known
song,
song, but it's a well-known song, and the guy Keith Allen was a bit nuts in that video. I decided to mix the song with some sound bites and all sorts of sound effects from the Stargate SG-1 series.
Oh,
so
excellent.
This is the Prodigy, and it's the Stargate. It's about 10 seconds for us to be wrapping up the show.
Oh, no.
And hang on a minute, it's gone right. Let's try that again. So this is the Project E and Stargate SG1 Firestarter. Thank you, everybody. We'll be back next week, and thanks for tuning in. Laters.
Just when you think you're not in Kansas anymore, turns out you are.
Chevron 7, locked.
You know me and sci-fi?
You are an idiot every day of the week. Why couldn't you have just taken one day off? Sir, he's not normal.
But, so, therefore? No harm will come to you. Petroleum guarantee.
Is that a money back, you're not completely alive guarantee?
Hey! Kilk, looks scary.
General Hammond requests permission to beat the crap out of this man. You're videotaping a plant.
Well, I think this might be important.
Well, I think you might be losing what's left of your mind.
What's that supposed to mean?
It means that on a good day, you can be a little playful.
And on a good day, you can be a little ignorant and condescending.
Human, put this up. Will you please stop calling me human?
Happened?
You actually want to fight Danny boy.
Lately, I get this weird feeling when I'm near Teal.
Hey, who does? Everything goes planned, Colonel. Well, one small step, one giant leap. Maybe I'd be your friend. Maybe not.
He's probably guard the gold Herur.
And he'd be Ra's what? Cousin? Uncle? What?
He is the son of Ra. And of Hathor.
Nice pedigree.
Kilk looked, I looked. It grabbed my head, I passed out, I came to, we're here, we're home. Can we go?
Sir, are you okay?
It's easy! Just jump and pull in! It's a boxing wars, O'Neill! That was easy, not wise! It's just like Sin Wars! Don't fall!
Is everyone clear on that? Daniel?
What?
Good.